Haifa or like Jerusalem. The major pictures that we could have seen then and that were erased were that of a, like Karen again said, a thriving community which had a multicultural, multi-religious, active, cosmopolitan life, and I would say particularly in our beloved Jerusalem. And of course, it was very important for the Zionist movement to erase that picture of the Palestinian society. It had to disappear because it had to be replaced with a new image, that of the fleeing refugee, the one who had to resort to the tents that had to welcome all these refugees in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan, but also in Gaza and in the West Banks. Of course, in the eyes of the people in the West who saw these pictures of refugees and tents, the next thought was, after all, they are Arab nomads. And if they can live in tents, I mean, what's the importance of living in Palestine or in Lebanon or in Syria or in Jordan? I often heard that argument of people telling me, after all, you were Arabs and you can survive in many of the Arab countries. This is why it is so important to reckon the fantastic work of memory that Jean-Paul was talking about, Paul Ghanem was talking about, that the photographic archive of UNRWA means to us. UNRWA means a lot to us in terms of the work it has done for the last 60 years of accompanying the Palestinian refugees and allowing them to live, to get educated, to get health facilities, and even to build futures, because without education you can't. But I think it's also very important in its work of preserving the memory of the Palestinians, including not only through the information on the Palestinians, but also on material things like their photos. This is why I think that this choice for the commemoration of the Nakba is so important. It's important because it allows the public, not only here in Gaza and Ramallah, but I hope tomorrow in Brussels, where I would like to host it in the parliament, in Beirut, in Amman, in Damascus, where UNRWA is taking it, but I hope also in the US, in the universities, in any of the places that can show this exhibition, people will see the testimony of a life that has disappeared. I cannot forget that we are also launching, and I would like to thank again Karen for this, we are launching this exhibition starting in Jerusalem, because I think it is very important to remember that this will be one day the capital of the Palestinian state. And the fact that it is in Jerusalem that Karen, you are launching this UNRWA exhibition, for me means a lot. I would like to take the opportunity to salute all the people who, on the 11th of May, and Mona Halabi in particular, the Nakba survivors who demonstrated in front of all the houses, the properties of Palestinians who live in the city next to the houses where sometimes they were born or that their parents lived. And salute tomorrow, and hope that all of you will be among the ones who on the 15th of May will launch the balloons in Jerusalem and around it to commemorate the Nakba. I think that you cannot not notice that in the celebrations organized by the State of Israel today, there is an attitude of total denial of Palestinian reality. Not only denial of the present reality, but also denial of the reality of 1948. We have seen how much celebrations there were not only in Israel here, but around the world, where very often in their interviews, Israeli politicians, but also intellectuals, forgot to say that when they came, there were already a people in this land. I think that the wall that has been built in Jerusalem, but along all the West Bank, and that will ultimately be 700 kilometers long, cannot hide the reality and cannot allow anybody to close his eyes to that reality. I think that for this reason, we have to acknowledge that there is a lot of work to be done still, not only among Israelis and Palestinians. Maybe there has been an effort by a lot of courageous Israelis who have taken part, and you had some partners on Sunday among the Zokra people who helped you. But particularly, I would say, in the Western world. I say the Western world because I think that in Europe, where I work, but also in the US, there is still also a lot of work to be done to acknowledge the necessity of a reciprocal recognition of Palestinian and Israeli rights. I think